Introducing kids to snorkeling is one of those parent upgrades that kind of feels like cheating, but they're having a great time and there are no screens involved. You both get the fresh air, the sunshine, it's very low impact so you don't have to think about broken bones, and best of all, a world that's just new, that's instantly fascinating for them. The sea isn't just water, underneath it's a moving, glittering habitat full of creatures that look like they were designed by a committee of imaginative 5-year-olds. Your job isn't to turn your child into a tiny marine biologist or an Olympic freediver, but you probably will get some questions about what each type of fish is, so be prepared for that. Hi, all of you awesome divers out there, welcome to the Scuba Diver Magazine channel, your favourite place for the latest scuba diving news and gear reviews. Snorkeling is a great activity for families and kids especially. I even made a video specifically about that up here. About why it's a great activity, but it's important that you introduce kids to snorkeling properly and don't literally drop them in at the deep end. Today's sponsor is Anthony's Key Resort in Roatan in Honduras, the original dive and adventure escape tucked along the island's northwestern shore. Think waterfront bungalows and hillside hideaways with the Mesoamerican Barrier Reef right nearby. So getting from coffee to the first splash is wonderfully simple. What I like about Anthony's Key is how holiday logistics basically disappear. Their resort package includes accommodations, round trip airport transfers and 3 daily meals, plus resort amenities like a freshwater pool, kayaks, paddle boards and Wi-Fi. Divers can add dedicated dive packages, and the resort also offers on-site PADI training from beginner all the way up to professional levels. If you've got snorkelers in the group, then guided snorkel trips run daily, and you can also snorkel at your own pace around Bailey's Key or the resort's backyard lagoon. And for a truly bucket list day, their dolphin programs offer everything from gentle family-friendly encounters to long swim and snorkel experiences in a natural lagoon setting with trainers and marine biologists. They also put real effort into sustainability, including solar power and roof restoration initiatives. If a warm water dive or snorkel break has been calling your name, check packages, dates and current specials at anthonyskey.com. The very first thing to think about is exposure. Out on the reef, you're very exposed to the sun because most people go snorkeling somewhere very sunny. So make sure that they are properly covered with hats, shirts, sunscreen, especially on shoulders, the neck, the back, their arms and the backs of their legs. Anything when they're face down in the water that the sun's going to reach. Now, there are plenty of rash suits out there today that help to just protect from the sun, cover as much as possible. Rash vests as well help to protect from bumps and scrapes when they're in the water. And also consider some reef shoes so that they don't step on anything pointy. And when they are in the water, think about what color they're wearing. Too much swimwear is blue or black. And if you get too far away from them, they kind of blend into the water. Reds and oranges are great to help you see them from a distance so you can keep a good eye on them. And think about inflatable snorkeling vests. They're a very good idea to help them float on the surface. Of course, just remember not to venture too far from them, just in case they lose their flotation. If your little ones aren't the strongest of swimmers, then remember that rule number 1 is that they never go into the water unless you are there and you say they can go into the water. We do want to build confidence, but we need to keep those boundaries because they may not be able to judge the ocean conditions just yet. And of course, we don't want them just going into the water without us. Snorkeling with kids is more about comfort than competence. Many adults assume the biggest hurdle is swimming ability, but actually for children, the real make or break moment is often just the sensation of breathing through a tube whilst their face is in the water. That's quite a strange idea and a strange thing for them to do the very first time you try it. So the quickest way to build confidence is to build that foundation and make the first experiences small, friendly and low pressure. Somewhere that they can stand up instantly. The vibe you're kind of aiming for, this is fun, rather than, I'm being tested, put this on and put your face in the water. You've got to make it fun. Before you even get to the water, let the gear become familiar. Let them wear the mask at home for a few minutes, pull faces in the mirror, practice like breathing like a monster through the tube, and that helps to normalize slow, calm, deep breathing through that snorkel and just reduces the weirdness factor because they've tried it all on before. One common mistake is biting the mouthpiece too hard, which makes jaw fatigue. Your jaws get tired and you end up with jaw ache. So try and encourage a gentle hold, using the lips to create a seal, teeth more relaxed. You don't have to chew on that mouthpiece. If you can, start in fresh water. If there's a pool that you have access to, get them to practice in fresh water first. It's just nicer than salt water. Mask on, snorkel in, and you basically want to check how tight the mask is around their face and if any water gets in. Just make sure that they are happy lifting their head out of the water and getting rid of that water. And of course, if they're happy breathing with their face in the water, because yeah, that's quite weird for most people. So just nice and slow, let's try our mask on, try breathing for a little bit, try counting the tiles on the floor or whatever it is. And a swimming pool is a nice controlled environment. You don't have to worry about waves, you don't have to worry about any kind of marine life or something, and yeah, fresh water is much nicer if it does get in their eyes. When you do finally get into salt water, choose the friendliest environment possible. Shallow water where they can stand up easily, just to start out with, ideally with a soft sandy bottom and minimal wave movement. A calm like lagoon style beach is perfect. The first goal is not swimming around for looking for cool things and amazing things. The first goal is simply floating calmly with their face in the water. Remember, we're building that foundation first. Making sure that they can breathe through that snorkel. You'll probably hit the classic kid snorkel hiccup when they're moving around and splashing. A bit of water gets into their snorkel, or there's a small leak in their mask, they get some water in their mask. Treat it like no big deal. Just pop up, head out of the water, laugh about it, reset. The more relaxed you are about it, the more relaxed they're going to be. Don't be kind of frantic and do all this. It's fine. It's only a bit of salt water in their mouth. They can get rid of that. You can show them how to clear their mask. It's basically looking up towards the surface and then press the top of the frame into their forehead and exhale through the nose. Explain that sometimes a little bit of water gets into their mask, it's no big deal, but if you look up, touch the top of the mask to your forehead and breathe out through your nose, it should push it out of the bottom. If they pull the mask off and then put it back on each time some water gets in their mask, you're increasing chances of hair getting under the seal and then more leaks. So try to teach them to keep the mask in place, only lift the bottom seal and breathe out through their nose, and that will push the water out of the bottom of the mask. For snorkels, if water gets in, kids learn the blast clear very quickly. If water gets in their snorkel, sharp exhale, and that shoots the water out of the top. Many children are happy simply just lifting the snorkel out to drain it, or just taking a moment to reset. The point isn't like perfect technique, it's that they feel capable. When something unexpected happens, they inhale and there's a bit of salt water, they're happy about it. If they take it out of their mouth, that's okay. And if anything, it's better that they do get a good lungful of fresh air without that snorkel. We're trying to teach them how to breathe big, deep breaths. If they're breathing really shallow, then carbon dioxide can build up in the snorkel. So big, deep breaths are always advised. Once they're happy splashing around and we're starting to move out towards the reef to actually go snorkeling, where you position yourself matters a lot. Stay close and visible. usually beside them or slightly behind them, so that you always have them in the corner of your eye, so that one, they don't feel alone. They can always like feel your presence when you're splashing next to them. For younger kids, being within arm's reach is just a default. You want to be able to touch them at any given moment. If they're wobbly or they're anxious, a flotation aid can be a real game changer. A swim noodle or a snorkel vest reduces the kind of what if I sink kind of feeling, and it frees their brain to focus on breathing and looking around. But when you are thinking of buoyancy aids, think of them as like a confidence support, not as a permanent crutch. If they do need to understand that if that buoyancy aid isn't around, that yes, they might sink. But as they progress and as they become better swimmers, you can start to reduce it. A lot of like swim armbands and vests, you can adjust the buoyancy, so you can just reduce that over time if they're up for it. Keep safety simple and consistent. Try and set a definitive boundary that makes sense for their level, staying where they can touch the bottom. You're not allowed to go beyond that. Staying between two obvious landmarks that you can see. Staying close enough that you can reach them in a couple of seconds. Make it normal for them to pause and turn to make sure that they can still see you, and pause whenever they want so that they can reset. If there is water in their mask and they do need to stand up, they can do that. Kids cope better when they feel they can opt out at any time without disappointing you. If there's ever a point where they're kind of chin down and they're not really getting ready like as eagerly as possible, hey kid, do you actually want to go snorkeling? Give them an easy out. Also, don't underestimate comfort management. Sun, cold, hunger and thirst are going to like limit how much time they can spend in the water. Even if you're in the tropics, they'll still get cold. A rash vest is brilliant because snorkeling exposes the child's back to the sun for long stretches, and a good rash vest will reduce sunscreen battles. If the water is cool, maybe a thin wetsuit or even just a shorty helps to keep them from getting chilly and grumpy. Bring fresh water and a snack. And of course, be willing to take breaks. Sometimes a biscuit on the beach just fixes everything. But as long as you're close by, hopefully your kid will be able to turn to you and say, hey, can I head back now? Once your child is comfortable just floating and breathing, then you can start making it feel like a real adventure. Keep the early sessions short. Think of like 10 minutes of just happy snorkeling, and end whilst they're still smiling. You don't want to be dragging them around, so think about how long it's going to take you to get back to shore. As confidence grows, introduce fins if you want. Choose short, flexible fins that fit snugly on their feet but not tight. Tight can cause cramp and no one enjoys that. And keep the first session with fins in shallow water. Fins are weird when they're new. Kids, even if they know how to swim, they've been taught to swim without fins, so it's quite weird to use them for the first time. So encourage a gentle, steady kick so they don't exhaust themselves. Then you can add simple missions that make that snorkeling feel more like a game. Find like 3 striped fish. Spot the brightest colour fish. If you can get underwater slates where you can draw with a pencil. So you can draw certain fish, your favourite fish. Follow a particular rock line for a few meters and then return back. You're giving them structure without turning it into a performance. If your child, on the other hand, is nervous, just go slower. Keep the choices wide. Which way do you want to go? Mask only today. Sure, you'll only be able to look down for a second or two whilst you're holding your breath. But yeah, snorkel later if you want to. Stick to shallow waters, hold afloat, hold your hand, whatever it is that works for the particular child. Try to avoid bribery or teasing, especially because then that can turn snorkeling into something antagonistic. You want them to associate snorkeling with autonomy and discovery, not pressure. Oh, I have to get this done, otherwise mum and dad are going to be upset. Celebrate their curiosity when they're pointing things out. Whoa, that's really cool. Celebrate that more than distance covered. You don't want them just branching out and going as far as they can. You want them more to be focusing on the small things at this point. If they look at one fish and they call it a day, fine. You can still call that a win, because the lesson was, I can do this and it's safe. The long-term goal isn't to create a mini expert like straight away. It's to build that positive loop. Comfort leads to curiosity, curiosity leads to confidence, and then confidence leads to more time in the water. Once that loop is running, the ocean basically does the parenting for you, because it's all different. And even if you go to the same place day in, day out, it's always changing. And the goal is that you're not trying to raise a tiny 𝐬𝐻𝐾 at this stage. You're just building a positive loop, and suddenly the ocean becomes the most exciting screen-free thing that your kid can't wait to do again. If you found this useful, then give this video a like, subscribe to the Scuba Diver Magazine channel, and drop a comment with your best kids snorkeling tip, or the one thing that you wish someone had told you sooner. Huge thank you to today's sponsor, Anthony's Key Resort. If you're looking for warm water, easy access to a reef, and a place where the whole family can have an amazing time in and out of the water, they're well worth checking out by clicking this link in the corner of the screen. And if you're in the UK, come and say hi at the Go Diving Show. It's a brilliant day out for divers and snorkelers alike. Gear, talks, trips, and a chance to meet loads of people from the diving community all in one place, again by clicking this link up in the corner of the screen. Thank you for watching, everybody, and of course, safe diving.